Hey everyone, I am Einstein.
And I'm Edison.
By watching this video, you'll be able to understand the difference between bacteria and viruses. Don't you want to know why antibiotics work on bacteria, but not on viruses?
Please tell me quickly. I've been feeling unwell recently.
Oh wow. Have you caught a cold? Colds are caused by viruses?
Honestly, I don't really understand the difference between bacteria and viruses.
Well then, shall we learn together?
Share your thoughts in the comments.
Let's learn together. First of all, bacteria and viruses are completely different in size.
Both are super tiny, right?
Yeah, you can't see them with the naked eye. Take a look at this.
This is me, right?
Yeah, and the thickness of your hair is 100 micrometers. That means it's around 0.1 millimeters.
Hair is really thin.
Let's zoom in even further from here.
Oh, I can see something.
This is a human cell. The size of a human cell is 1020 micrometers.
That's way smaller than a hair.
That's right. Let's magnify it again.
I can see something else now.
This is a bacterium. The typical size of bacteria is 1 micrometers.
So it's even smaller than human cells. Then, how big is a virus?
Oh, can you spot the virus?
Where is it?
It's right here.
It's tiny.
The size of a virus is about 10. It's about 1,100 to 11,000th the size of bacteria.
So viruses are much smaller than bacteria.
That's right. The size difference between bacteria and viruses is about the same as the difference between humans and ants.
Humans and ants. That's unbelievable.
Yes, this size difference is the most important difference between bacteria and viruses. Next is the difference in the way they reproduce.
Reproduction method.
To put it simply, it's how they leave offspring. Just like humans, bacteria and viruses reproduce by leaving offspring.
That makes sense.
And bacteria and viruses reproduce by making copies of themselves.
I've heard of that before.
And the way they reproduce is completely different between bacteria and viruses.
What's the difference?
To make a copy of oneself, you need chromosomes, which serve as a blueprint, and ribosomes, which create cells.
I see. So it's the chromosomes and ribosomes.
Let's learn about the specific ways bacteria multiply from here. This is a replication of bacteria.
There's one each of the chromosomes and ribosomes you mentioned earlier.
First, ribosomes are made based on the chromosomes. Then, DNA polymerase copies the chromosomes.
The chromosomes have doubled.
Finally, a wall is created so that each chromosome can separate.
So the bacteria divided into two. Each bacteria has one chromosome and one ribosome. That means each one is in the same state as the original bacteria.
That's right. A single bacterium gave birth to 2 new bacteria. I understand how bacteria multiply now.
That's the process of bacterial multiplication.
Now let's learn about how viruses multiply. Remember that viruses are much smaller than bacteria?
The difference in size was about the same as between humans and ants.
That's correct. And because of their small size, viruses don't have space inside for ribosomes. They do have chromosomes though.
Wait, ribosomes don't fit inside?
That's right. Ribosomes, which make proteins from chromosomes, are 15 to 30 m in size. Since a virus is only 10 m, ribosomes can't fit inside.
So how do they multiply? They can't multiply with just chromosomes.
Exactly. That's why viruses borrow ribosomes.
What? Where does it borrow from?
Virus uses human cells.
Human cells. Can it do that?
Shall we learn in detail? This is a reproduction of human cells.
There are chromosomes and ribosomes, even inside human cells.
And here comes the virus, injecting its own chromosomes into human cells.
It does quite an impressive thing.
Then the human cell's ribosomes, without realizing they're dealing with the virus's chromosomes, end up copying them.
Oh, they're being tricked by the virus.
And when the virus multiplies, it destroys the human cells and bursts out. By the way, the destroyed human cells end up dying.
Viruses are incredibly smart. They carry only the minimum chromosomes required and infiltrate human cells, tricking them into multiplying.
Yes, that's what viruses do. Now, considering the differences between bacteria and viruses, let's learn about the treatment methods for bacteria and viruses.
Why do antibiotics work on bacteria but not on viruses?
Antibiotics destroy bacteria, but they don't directly defeat the bacteria.
What do you mean?
Antibiotics inhibit the function of the bacteria's ribosomes. Then the bacteria can't multiply.
So by stopping the ribosomes and suppressing multiplication, it's an indirect attack.
Exactly. For instance, penicillin, which is a famous antibiotic, inhibits the function of making bacterial walls. In other words, the bacteria can't make cell walls and die out.
I see.
Moreover, because the function of making bacterial cell walls is common to many bacteria, one antibiotic can work on many different bacteria.
Antibiotics are so powerful.
However, when it comes to viruses, they hijack human cells and use the ribosomes of human cells.
That's true. So antibiotics that stop the ribosomes of bacteria won't work, right?
Exactly. That's why antibiotics don't work on viruses like the novel coronavirus.
I see.
On the other hand, if we create a drug that stops the ribosomes of human cells, it could harm normal cells.
Then, how do medications for influenza and coronavirus work?
Most antiviral drugs, like anti-influenza drugs, work by inhibiting the function of the virus's unique chromosomes. These are harmless to human cells and only suppress the proliferation of the virus.
That makes sense. So let's make a lot of drugs that stop the unique functions of the virus.
Well, it's easier said than done. It varies depending on the type of virus, and we need to research each virus individually, so it takes time to develop antiviral drugs. Let's reflect on what we learned today.
Sure.
Viruses are much smaller than bacteria, and they don't contain ribosomes that generate cells. Therefore, viruses take over human cells to reproduce.
And antibiotics that stop bacterial activity don't work on viruses, right? We need to research and develop our own antiviral drugs for viruses.
Exactly.
I've got a good understanding of the differences between bacteria and viruses. Thanks for learning with me.
I'm glad to hear that. On this channel, we'll continue to learn about everyday discoveries and questions through science.
Please subscribe to our channel and give us a thumbs up. Share what you learned today in the comments. See you in the next video.
Bye-bye.